I'm Angela Hara, live on the Chapman campus, where students are marking the second-year anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war. Coming up, we hear from a professor at Chapman University who tells me that there are many hurdles that Trump's new peace plan faces.
Also, protesters clashing with law enforcement as President Trump doubles down on sending National Guard troops to Democratic-led cities.
A little more emotional than I thought. I actually walked up and I was like, wow, this is very emotional.
And we'll tell you about a special traveling memorial honoring Vietnam War veterans. That story, plus your weather, sports, and more, just ahead.
From Orange, California, live from Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Ryan Kaiser.
And I'm Caroline Chang. Our top story today, a controversial case comes before the Supreme Court.
The nation's highest court is hearing arguments for and against a law in Colorado that bans conversion therapy for minors.
A counselor is challenging the law, saying it prevents her from talking with her young clients about their gender identity.
The court kicked off its new term yesterday. The justices will also hear legal challenges to some of Trump's controversial executive orders. Among the cases, the judges will decide between now and next June whether the president can restrict birthright citizenship, also the legality of trade tariffs he has imposed, and whether he can fire independent agency members. The court 6-3 conservative majority has sided with the president in several emergency rulings, but observers say that the justices will now conduct a more in-depth examination of Trump's actions, and nothing is guaranteed.
Also, President Trump today once again threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy National Guard troops to cities that have resisted the move. A federal judge blocked President Trump from sending National Guard troops to Portland, where protesters clashed with law enforcement. After the ruling, Trump sent 300 California National Guard troops to the city, prompting California Governor Gavin Newsom to sue the administration. Chicago Democratic leaders also filed a lawsuit challenging the president's contention that he is sending the military there to protect federal immigration personnel and property. A federal judge gave the Justice Department until midnight tomorrow to respond to that lawsuit.
It has been 2 years since Hamas launched a coordinated attack on Israel. That led to the ongoing war in Gaza.
Our Angela Hara just live from the Chapman University campus just hours before a scheduled event to commemorate the attack's 2-year anniversary. Angela?
Yeah, that's right, Caroline and Ryan. I am standing outside of Chapman University's Fish Interfaith Center, where there's currently a drop-in happening. The organizers of this event say it's in support and strength on this second-year anniversary of the October 7th attacks. They say they will be handing out snacks and playing music today, and they welcome all students up until 3 p.m. Elsewhere in Orange County, this is a live look at the Humanities Quad on the UC Irvine campus. We're told students there are planning a walkout, which they say is in remembrance of the lives lost in the war. It is expected to start in roughly half an hour at 2 p.m. The event is called For Gaza We Rise, and it is organized by the university's Students' Justice for Palestine chapter. Now, on the international stage, Israel and Hamas representatives have begun talks in Egypt on President Trump's 20-point Gaza peace plan. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are expected to depart for Egypt today to continue talks with both countries. Hamas has said it is agreeing to only some parts of the plan, including the release of Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. In the proposed peace plan, Hamas is not part of any future governance of Gaza. And President Trump is urging all involved to end the war and to, quote, move fast. The administration says it will provide immediate aid to Gaza once both sides agree to the peace plan. I talked to Chapman University political science professor Hannah Ridge, and she tells me that there are still many unanswered questions in regards to the rebuilding of Gaza.
They're proposing a multinational force to be involved in this. How much money will be spent on it? The United States has spent a lot of money in destroying Gaza. Is it willing to spend that money to rebuild it? And who will it turn those resources over to? The Israeli government has previously blockaded the entry of building supplies into Gaza. They would have to rescind that policy in order for there to be any rebuilding.
And the U.S. has not yet recognized the Palestinian state, a major point that Professor Ridge tells me, well, it sticks out.
I think it's a crucial failing because several of the parties involved, including in this case Hamas, have said that they will not demilitarize until they are told there will be a Palestinian state. And not only is this proposal only suggesting the creation of one, the Netanyahu element has already said we will not follow through on that provision. So that's kicking the legs out of it before it's even gotten off the ground.
And coming up a little later in our newscast today, we will be continuing our coverage on the second year anniversary of the October 7th attacks. Our Isabella Sevilla will speak to young people and who are sharing their thoughts on the war. Live for now from Orange, Angela Hara.
Thank you, Angela. The government shutdown enters its second week today, but both parties are still miles apart from a compromise on funding bills. The Democrats have held firm on their stance for an extension of health insurance tax credits, while the Republicans have been hoping to flip Democrats to their side on a House-passed funding measure that would fund the government until November 21st. Now, the attention has turned to big delays seen at airports all around the country. While essential government employees are being paid, there are reports that some air traffic controllers have been calling in sick. A CNN reporter says it's actually a repeat of the last shutdown.
The very same thing ended the 35-day government shutdown back in 2019. And controllers calling out sick led to ground stops and delays at some of the country's busiest airports. And when that happened, lawmakers reached a deal pretty quickly.
12 major airports are facing staff shortages. And here in SoCal, Burbank Airport shut down its control tower for nearly 6 hours yesterday. Back on Capitol Hill, the Senate is expected to vote again today on funding measures.
A powerful display honoring the men and women who died in the Vietnam War was here in Orange this weekend. I had the opportunity to check it out and learn why it's so important. At Grijalva Park in Orange, a powerful salute to the men and women who lost their lives in the Vietnam War arrived, touching the hearts of many.
A little more emotional than I thought. I actually walked up and I was like, wow, this is very emotional.
Doug Redding is the president of the Wall That Heals Orange, and he says that the community response was overwhelming.
When the escort came, we went through the plaza, or the Plurkle, and this giant 50-foot trailer over here drove through a part of the plaza, and it was an unforgettable, emotional experience to see so many people in the city waving flags and welcoming the wall.
It's a replica of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C., which is inscribed with the names of more than 58,000 Americans who died in the war.
All of us took it so seriously to not just bring it here, but to do it right. You know, this is sort of like a funeral in a cemetery, and all 58,281 names inscribed on that wall are the reason we're all free. And so we took that very seriously. So to me personally, that's why it meant so much. We had to do it and do it right with respect and reverence to the veterans and the Medal of Honor recipients.
Michael Otto is a veteran and came out to see the memorial.
Oh, it's great. This way there's a public awareness about what happened in the Vietnam War.
It's important to bring something like this here in such a remarkable way so that for young people, it makes an impression on them. And they realize just how important the war was. No matter how you feel about it, it was a significant part of American history. And all of those names are a reminder of how important it is to protect America and protect our values.
This is the Wall's only Southern California stop. Next, it'll be heading north to Clovis, California.
The updated COVID vaccine is here, but there is confusion about who is eligible to get it. The Trump administration approved the updated vaccine, but only for people who are above 65 years old or if they have a condition which puts them at a higher risk. Here in California, state health officials are recommending the vaccine and providing it for anyone who wants it. Dr. Christopher Zimmerman is the Deputy Medical Director for Communicable Disease Control at OC Public Health. He understands why people might be confused.
The reality is that there's different guidance now from the federal government and from states and different parts of the country, and that's all very confusing.
The director of the State Department of Public Health has said vaccine recommendations from the Federal Centers for Disease Control have been, quote, compromised under the Trump administration and are no longer medically valid.
California has seen high wildfire activity this year, with over 500,000 acres burned here in the Golden State.
Our Madison Miller has been tracking the statistics from this year. What do you have for us, Maddie?
Yeah, that's right, guys. California has seen an overall uptick in wildfires in 2025. There have been several major wildfires across the state, most notably the Palisades and Eaton fires in Los Angeles County in January, and the Gifford fire in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties that started in August. According to CAL FIRE, this is largely due to a warmer and drier spring season than usual. Both Northern and Southern California have also experienced below average rainfall this year. CAL FIRE says other contributing factors to wildfires in both regions include lower moisture and dead vegetation, alongside that moisture curing faster in live vegetation. Coastal zones have also seen increased fire risk due to weaker marine layers. According to CAL FIRE, there have been over 700,000 wildfires in 2025. We can see that uptick from 2024 to 2025. There have been a total of over 530,000 acres burned so far, with nearly 7,400 wildfires in 2025 and 31 fatalities. I'll take a look at local and national forecasts coming up in just a few minutes. Caroline.
Thank you. Coming up, making childcare more affordable here is Orange County. Finding out how two cities have two different approaches to help families.
I'm worried about Mom.
Mom? She's fine. These the ones, right, Mom?
Yeah, groundlings.
Sweet potatoes.
Daddy, it's salty.
Some things come with age.
And some don't.
Early detection of Alzheimer's can lead to better care for your loved one. Learn the early warning signs at 10signs.org.
If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Throw that ball, Diane. Woo! You got this.
Welcome back. As we noted earlier in our newscast, it's been 2 years now since the start of the Israel-Hamas war.
The conflict has prompted protests and demonstrations around the world, including, of course, on many college campuses. Our Isabella Sevilla is live in studio with more on that. Isabella?
Thank you, Ryan and Caroline. The Trump administration says many of the demonstrations which we saw in 2024 were anti-Semitic. It began to withhold funding from schools that it says created a hostile environment for Jewish students. A federal judge last week said the administration's targeting of international students who participated in those protests was illegal. But now, there are no encampment protests. We're still seeing demonstrations in many cities. In Los Angeles on Saturday, people protested Israel's continuing military attacks on Gaza. The war has been so divisive and controversial that one demonstrator who I spoke with did not want to appear on camera or give their name.
At the end of the day, I don't think it should be a controversial statement to say that Palestinians deserve life, that they deserve their land, and that they deserve freedom. I don't think any of that should be controversial or divisive for people to say. I also don't believe that it should be controversial to critique Zionism. Zionism and anti-Semitism are not the same thing. Zionism is a political ideology, and while a lot of people do feel it is representative of Judaism, we know for a fact that it is not.
Here at Chapman, Rabbi Eliezer Garari recalls the tense atmosphere some Jewish students encountered in the aftermath of the Hamas attacks on Israel and the subsequent campus protests.
Yeah, it was a scary time. You know, there was one student, there were multiple students females who were scared to walk around campus after October 7th because there were a lot of agitators, whether they were students or out students. Then eventually there was the encampment that took place at Chapman. And there was a few students who are strong big boys who are Jewish, and they would walk these girls to class. They asked me to help coordinate for that. So I was coordinating because they were just fearful, and they would hide their Star of David necklace. They would not share their opinions on social media with their friends because they were scared of the feedback they would get. So it was very, very overwhelming.
Tonight, an evening of music, poetry, and reflection will be held at Chapman University's Fish Interfaith Center at 6 p.m. All are welcome, and organizers hope it will bring people together. Reporting for Chapman News, I'm Isabella Savea.
Thank you, Isabella. The impact of open AI platforms on teen mental health is a growing concern. The parents of 16-year-old Adam Brain, who was from Orange County, are suing OpenAI. They say the chatbot, ChatGPT, contributed to Adam's suicide earlier this year. Mental health professionals like Rhonda Fent, the program director for Exodus Recovery at Be Well, says young people are especially vulnerable.
The internet it lacks reason and that personal contact, right? And I think with young minds, they aren't fully developed, and they're in a moment of crisis, they're not maybe thinking things all the way through.
Recently, ChatGPT announced a series of parental controls. Now parents can link their accounts to their teen's account. If you or a loved one are struggling with mental health, you can call the number on your screen or reach out to a mental health professional.
It's a tale of two cities here in OC trying to help families afford childcare. Chapman News reporter Angela Hara has more.
$7 million. That's how much state money was awarded to Santa Ana to help pay for after-school programs and childcare. And while it may be hard to believe after accepting the grant in 2023, the city decided to return the money to the state earlier this year in May. Officials say they did so because the city lacked the experience and resources to make sure it would comply with health and education requirements that came with the state grant, as well as a projected drop in sales tax revenue. Mayor Pro Tem Benjamin Vasquez expresses his disappointment in giving the money back.
I was really disappointed that we gave this money back, and I would rather wish that it came back to the council so we could send it back and have this discussion. I felt that this could have been an investment in our centers.
Mayor Valerie Amescua says the state grant could have actually ended up costing the city money and that the school district would be a better choice to apply for the funding. On the other end of the spectrum, earlier this month, Irvine City Council proposed a fund that would provide parents with grants to help pay for childcare for children age 4 and under. While the average household yearly income in Irvine is roughly $124,000, several council members said they themselves know of at least one family that could benefit from the fund. Gretchen Harwood is a mom of one who lives in Orange County. She says the issue of affordable childcare is complicated.
I mean, I think it's kind of a complex problem. I think that'd be great if people have a qualifying kind of cap for it and definitely subsidize in that way. But I think it's also how the child cares themselves are regulated, how the people who work at the child cares are paid.
If approved, the grant would be available to families of at least 4 or more with a combined annual income of less than $135,000. The Irvine City Council has asked its staff to research the proposal to work out logistics. The council meets later today at 4 p.m. I'm Angela Hara reporting for Chapman News.
Financial problems continue in the city of Orange. Earlier this year, city leaders told Orange they could face bankruptcy by 2031 unless it cut spending and increased its sales tax. Mayor Dan Slater tells Chapman News the city is not in danger of bankruptcy, but will be taking steps to boost revenues. Even though voters last year rejected a proposal to raise the city's sales tax, Slater says the increase is still needed and may be reintroduced.
The best way to generate funds for the city is through sales taxes, and that's through economic development, and that is going to certainly take some time as we try to bring more businesses into the city.
Over the next few months, the city will also raise more funds by introducing metered parking in the Orange Historic Plaza near the Chapman campus.
The City of Orange just made it easier for restaurants to serve alcohol starting this week. The City Council recently passed a new ordinance that goes into effect this Thursday. It eliminates the conditional use permit process restaurants must obtain to serve alcohol. Instead, restaurants that meet the state's definition of a bona fide public eating place, meaning they have a full kitchen and primarily serve meals, can now apply for a simpler alcohol permit. The change also lifts the city's long-standing ban on happy hour promotions, though. Restaurants must still follow certain rules. Still, the changes raise concerns from some residents.
I feel like that's a little bit more bad for me just because of like the whole motorcycle thing. I feel like there's already enough bad drivers on the road, so giving everybody like more access to alcohol, I don't know, it just like scares me because I've already been hit before.
City officials say the move will help struggling businesses and bring in more revenue as the City of Orange faces a budget shortfall.
Hey Ryan, it's kind of been an overcast day so far here in OC.
I know, I'm waiting for these cooler temperatures, but it looks like I'm just gonna have to keep waiting. Our weather anchor, Madison Miller, is here, and she's gonna tell us about the local and national forecasts. Hi, Madison.
Hi, so yeah, it's definitely, don't get too discouraged by those storm clouds and some of those higher temperatures because hopefully it will be cooling down a little bit. Right now, Orange County, Orange specifically, is sitting at 77 degrees, which is a little higher than normal. At this point last year, we were at 73 degrees. Taking a look at our 5-day forecast, we have generally consistent temperatures throughout the week, bouncing around high 70s and low 80s. We'll see a spike towards the end of the week on Friday and then cool down a little bit over the weekend. If you're looking to get outside and not sweat, then the weekend's for you. Taking a look at our OC forecast, we're in the 70s across the board generally, with some of those coastal cities such as Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, and San Clemente feeling the lower 70s. Taking a look at some national news, Tropical Storm Priscilla has since upgraded to a Category 2 storm today and is expected to increase to a Category Storm 3 by the end of the day. It will largely hit the west coast of Mexico. However, the southwestern region of the U.S. could be seeing some showers and maybe some rains later on. So we'll just have to keep tracking that. If it upgrades to a Category 3 storm, Priscilla will be considered a major hurricane with minimum sustained winds. Southern San Diego County and parts of the desert between Arizona and California, kind of Yuma area, might be seeing some of the remnants of Hurricane Priscilla. And lastly, taking a look at our national forecast, Seattle is sitting at a comfortable 72 degrees and sunny. Shockingly, it's not going to rain today with only an 8% chance of rain. San Francisco sitting at a 75 degrees, some storm clouds. Going over to the desert, Vegas, Palm Springs, and Phoenix, all some warmer temperatures. Phoenix has actually cooled down recently as some of those monsoon storms have come into the valley. Some unexpected storms we're seeing this past weekend, cooling down the desert a little bit. Denver and Minneapolis sitting in the mid to low 60s with some storm clouds. Looking over at Chicago, Houston, and Atlanta, there should be some rain coming in with some clouds kind of in the south and Houston and Atlanta, and it's a little humid down there. Looking down in Miami, there are going to be thunderstorms throughout the week with a coastal flood advisory in effect until Wednesday evening. Caroline?
Thanks for those updates, Maddie. Now, October is Mental Health Awareness Month, and a recent report says mental health is an issue for many college students. The report from U.S. News says nearly 70% of college students struggle with mental health. Chapman University psychology professor David Pincus notes college is a time filled with change. It is common for that change to impact student mental health. Pincus says community is important and offers this advice to students.
If you feel overwhelmed with a friend with a mental health problem, it's because you think you've got to do something and you don't know what to do. And in reality, if you don't know what to do, you don't know what to do. So you shouldn't try to do anything. You should be with your friend.
Like many universities, Chapman has multiple resources for students, including free counseling and student-run groups. If you are struggling with mental health, please reach out to the number on the screen.
I'm Sophia Youngs with the Panthers Sports Roundup. Coming up, meet Chance Quarry, a Southern California para-rower pushing boundaries and breaking barriers. More remarkable stories from the world of sports right after the break.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
School, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
It just feels hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
And I'll try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Huntington Beach was flying high this weekend as the Pacific Air Show took to the skies. Our reporter Nathaniel Rudolph takes a look at one pilot's inspiring story.
Jets and aerobatic planes roar across the skies of Huntington Beach's Pacific Air Show. There's really only one word you need to describe the sight.
Amazing.
One of them made a heart.
Just like that young girl, Emma McDonald, one of the aerobatic pilots in this year's Pacific Air Show, was also in awe of planes when she was young. Now she's the one inspiring the next generation, performing breathtaking maneuvers like these and these. Emma is the only female pilot performing at this year's air show. The work it took for her to reach this altitude is nothing short of astounding.
My whole family were pilots, but I didn't go straight into flying like most people thought I would. I actually became a diesel fitter, and there's a diesel mechanic who works on mining and construction equipment. I did that for 8 years before I started wanting to go flying.
She earned her place in a field few women have ever reached.
I had a supervisor who was part of my diesel fitting career who actually told me that I didn't belong when I first started there on my first day. He singled me out in front of everyone, but it was by my leadership of showing him what I was made of that changed his whole perception of what females in a workplace can do.
Emma told me about the maneuvers she would be executing, and while it sounded terrifying,
we'll be flying it backwards, sideways, upside down, you name it.
She couldn't seem more excited. However, this was not Emma's first air show. Previously, she was mentored by Red Bull Racing's Matt Hall and recently placed 4th in Air Race X. Another passion of Emma's is to use her speed to help others, flying kids in rural parts of Australia to hospitals. Now, she is committed to making a name.
The first time I'm out independently, so previously I was flying for Matt Hall Racing with the Red Bull aeroplane, and now this year I've moved out on my own to do my own team, Beyond Gravity.
Emma hopes to use her goals to inspire girls to chase their own dreams.
Just because it's a male-dominated industry doesn't mean we can't do the job or do the job just as well. So that's what we're here to do, and I hope I can inspire those girls to dream big and go for it.
Kevin Elliott, the director of the Pacific Air Show, says he was glad he gave Emma a shot to fly in the air show.
Well, Emma McDonald is not only an amazing pilot, she's an amazing human being. So I have to say she's one of my favorite pilots in the entire world. Her enthusiasm, her positivity.
When I interviewed her, I certainly experienced that positivity. No matter what life threw at her, she always had a smile on her face. Watching heroes soar above the Pacific. This is Nathaniel Rudolph reporting for Chapman News.
Pickleball continues to be one of the country's fastest growing sports, and the city of Orange is hopping on the trend. Fans say it brings together people of all ages and athletic abilities. Locally, many Orange residents who used to play tennis say they have found pickleball to be an easier sport.
We're all coming from tennis backgrounds, so we just moved in just because it's easier and it's more accessible. It's pretty fun. It's similar to tennis, but it's just a lot easier, like ping pong almost.
According to the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, many communities cannot keep up with the demand for more pickleball courts. At Hart Park in Orange, there are 10 new courts being built. The city is putting $2 million of community development funds into the project.
Love me some pickleball. You know what, Carol? I feel like the sports world has started October with a big bang.
Absolutely. I've been seeing that too. Good thing our sports reporter, Sophia Youngs, is ready to update us with all the things in sports. Sophia?
Thanks so much, you guys. Well, like they said, my name is Sophia Youngs here with the Panther Sports Roundup. One Southern California resident is redefining what the word disability means to them through passion, determination, and the love of water. They're proving that strength comes in many forms, both on and off the boat.
21-year-old Chance Quarry hasn't even been in a rowing shell for a year, yet he's already making waves on the international stage.
It is pretty interesting experience to be able to say that I'm a part of Team USA when I had no expectation of it at all.
Born with a rare birth defect affecting 1 in 200,000 newborns, doctors believed Quarry would never walk properly, let alone play sports.
Very early on, we were just amazed about how athletic he was and how he really wanted to pursue athletic things.
By his senior year, Quarry was a 3-sport athlete, even stepping in as quarterback for his high school football team. But when Quarry started college, his athletic career seemed over, until one Google search changed everything.
I just went online, Team USA, Paralympics. There was a form that popped up, and about a day later, I got an email back from Ellen Meisner, who is the head of U.S. Rowing.
Within months, Quarry was breaking records and medaling in regatta courses around the world.
And traveling up into the front end. Yeah, that's good.
I did not think I was ever going to be this good of an athlete in terms of... I never thought I was going to really try to do adaptive sports either.
For Chance, medals are just a perk. Inspiring others is the real reward.
I just want kids who are in my position to be able to have someone to look up to and show that they can accomplish anything as long as they put their minds to it. And if I'm doing half of that, I know I did my job.
With the 2028 games on the horizon, Chance Quarry is turning a seemingly unthinkable dream into a reality, one stroke at a time.
Sophia Youngs, Chapman News.
And UCLA fans can finally breathe easy as the Bruins put their first W on the board with a 42-37 win over Penn State. Quarterback Ethan Garbers was dialed in, throwing over 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, while the defense stepped up in the second half to shut down the Penn State's drive. The Bruins controlled the tempo, executed when it counted, and finally found the end zone in that long-awaited victory at the Rose Bowl. And the Chapman Panthers not only dominated their homecoming game against Redlands, but also played themselves right into the history books. The Panthers brought out fireworks for a 27-0 win against the Bulldogs. The defense in particular shined, setting a new school record of allowing just 4 first downs in the first Redlands offense. But even more impressive, the defense gave up just a total of 71 yards to Redlands, knocking the previous record of 116 yards out of the park. Now that record had been in place since October 2005. Chapman now turns its attention to the SCIAC champion rematch against Pomona-Pitzer. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. this Saturday. Now that wraps up this week's Panthers Sports Roundup. From the field to the water, Chapman athletes and Southern California stars continue to make waves. I'm Sophia Youngs, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Chapman football may have been finding the end zone on Saturday, but they weren't the only ones scoring this weekend.
Many local businesses bring out all the stops for Chapman homecoming weekend, and one local brewery is no exception. Chapman News reporter Nico Schwegler took part in the festivities and has the story.
Chapman Homecoming is a time for family, friendship, and of course, some football. But here at Chapman Crafted, it's a time to bring the community together and for business to boom.
Yeah, it's so fun for us. We love having our Chapman University friends. They just love Chapman Crafted beer.
Jen Gonzalez is the events coordinator at Chapman Crafted. With a bunch of parents in town looking for a good time, she knew just what to do.
So this weekend we have an we have a fraternity event on Friday, an alumni event on Friday, a sorority event on Saturday, and a fraternity event on Saturday, both parent-student mixers, pre-homecoming game. They love that, the parents especially love that their university has a brewery with a similar name, so close to their university.
And don't be mistaken, this brewery knows precisely how to get the perfect blend of flavors into their beers. And what would a brewery be without their signature drink?
We actually feature our Panther Pills, which is, from the Chapman University mascot, and we have a private label, so we put, the Chapman University Panther Pills label on our traditional Pilsner.
So whether you're looking for a cold glass before the game, during the game, or even to cap off the night, Chapman Crafted has got you covered all season long. And let's just say this homecoming was one to remember. Reporting from Old Town Orange, Nico Schwegler, Chapman News.
Coming up on Chapman News, meet an Orange County chef whose mission goes far beyond the kitchen. See how he is feeding children in need.
Good afternoon. I'm Natalie Ross.
And I'm Samantha Collins. Good afternoon and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Stephen.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of Chapman News.
Since 2010, Chapman News has been covering weather, entertainment, sports, politics, and news, broadcasting from Dodge College's Marionette Studios.
As the only live newscast in Orange County, our journalists aim to highlight local, statewide, and national communities.
We're here to provide the most accurate, engaging, and relevant news for our community.
Tune in to our nationally recognized and award-winning newscast, Chapman News.
Watch locally on Channel 6 or on our YouTube to stay updated with the latest.
Gamers are pushing back against an Xbox price increase. Gamers recently crashed Xbox's site trying to cancel their subscription service to Game Pass. Game Pass gives access to cloud gaming with over 400 games and new releases for a monthly fee. But Xbox has increased that price by 50% for the Ultimate Edition of the Game Pass. Fans are outraged and many are canceling their subscriptions. In response, the retailer, GameStop, said it will keep the previous price point, but Xbox insists additional perks are worth the price increase.
Today is not just any Tuesday, it is the official National Taco Tuesday. To mark it, we want to tell you about the unique story of Tacos Los Cholos in Anaheim. What started as a pop-up here in OC has now grown into a 6-restaurant-wide, award-winning SoCal chain. Known for cooking their meat al carbone style over charcoal, crowds line up around the block to get a taste. Addie Palacios, a server at the Anaheim location, explains the tacos are not the only reason people keep coming. Josue Maldonado and Michael Alvarado, the co-owners, have had a big impact on the community.
Our CEO really does give back to our community, and he really cares for the Latino community, everybody. He's so diverse, he's such an empath, and I feel like that's what makes his restaurants stand out.
And to celebrate National Taco Tuesday, Tacos Los Cholos is offering a deal for $1.99 a taco. But head down any Tuesday to get this deal. They're open until 2 a.m.
$1.99 a taco. Wow. He's a world-renowned chef who has served dignitaries and celebrities.
But his most important patrons are children in need. Chapman News reporter Blair Henry joins us now with that story. Blair?
Thanks, Caroline and Ryan. I had the chance to sit down with Bruno Serrato, an Anaheim restaurateur whose acts of kindness have turned into a nationwide movement.
Anaheim White House restaurant. The smell of food fills the air, but behind every plate is a deeper mission. The idea for Katarina's Club, named after Bruno Serrato's mother, started with a visit to the local Boys and Girls Club more than a decade ago, where Bruno and his mom were moved by the sight of a hungry child.
April 18, 2005, I went to a Boys Girls Club, and I was made aware of a young kid, 8 years old, named Donadina that night. My mom was with me that day, and she said, "Why don't you feed him pasta?"
Since that night, Katarina's Club has served more than 11 million meals to children in need all across Southern California. Serrato's passion comes from humble beginnings.
The reason I do that is because no child should go to bed hungry. And I was very poor myself. Mom said, "Bruno, If you can do pasta for kids, well, keep doing what you do.
Born in France to Italian parents after World War II, Serrato grew up poor, often eating pasta because it was all his family could afford. When he came to America in 1980, he built his career slowly, never forgetting the struggles of his childhood and how others helped him and his family along the way.
Well, when you grow up very poor and you see people help you,
Families move into permanent housing, covering their security deposits. Bruno's most recent project is in partnership with the Anaheim School District, offering hands-on hospitality training in his restaurant that will help open doors for students. Serrato's mission has stretched far beyond Orange County. He has inspired others across America and even overseas to cook up a pot of pasta and pay it forward.
one of the best part of it, we inspiring people to do the same project in Africa, Chicago, Texas, New York, Italy. I mean, you see people doing my program in different states, different countries.
For Serrato, it's not just about the pasta or the programs. It's about passing down a mindset of kindness. He says every act of generosity, no matter how small, can have big effects. Katarina's Club continues to serve thousands of meals each week and expand its programs. To learn more about their work or to find out how to get involved, visit katarinasclub.org. For Chapman News, I'm Blair Henry.
Thanks, Blair. Lots of really great food here in OC. I don't know if I want pasta or tacos for lunch now.
I feel like tacos is the way for Taco Tuesday. But that's all we have for this week's edition of Chapman News. I'm Caroline Chang.
And I'm Ryan Kaiser. We'll see you right back here next week at 1.